Hi, gang. I'm sorry I am going to be unable to be with you today, but I'm needed elsewhere, and I'm sure you understand. I do want to load up the midterm study guide for you and walk it through with you so you'll know what to study up. First of all, go into discussions and read the other work that the other folks have done, both on the so we've seen the video on mine, but it's those three different things: the theorists, the theories, and the Piagetian task. Look through the document that the people have created for you and that they've loaded up in discussions. You can use those as sort of a study guide to study those things. Of course, go through your brain-based learning video, and then look at this study guide here. This talks about let's see, the first question. I'm going to walk through these things real quick, and I'm not going to tell you the answers, but you can look them up. Who was first known as the father of modern education? Now, there was one earlier than the other, and this will be a multiple choice question, so it'll be fairly obvious as to which one is which. But there was one man who was called the father of modern education, and he was much earlier than the second one. So look into that. Who is the gentleman who decided America needed their own blueback speller? He also later decided to do a dictionary. We talked about him. Next thing is, I'm not sure if we spent much time talking about it, but the old Deluder-Satan Act. I think it's important that we remember that. You can look it up. It's also called something else of 1847. And what its purpose was. So, because I'm going to give you a multiple choice thing of what did the old Deluder-Satan Act say. Number 4, who decided learning should be from elementary to complex, from easy to the more difficult? One of those great pizza guys back there who basically set up the order of our curriculum now. Next one, who was the father of kindergarten? I think that's one answer you'll all probably fairly well know. Is learning something the brain is naturally built to do? And that's one of the slides that we watched in the video. It's also on your, I think, in a study sheet that you guys had. If not, it's certainly in the video. This is maybe a true-false question. Was Thomas Aquinas a founder of progressive educational philosophy? Yes or no? True or false? What was the concept of tabula rasa? And you remember the guy who did that. Who was the famous proponent of the tabula rasa? Next is, who did the zone of proximal development? That should be an easy one for you. Who introduced a bill for tax-supported schools for all except for slaves? I'll give you a hint. He was one of our presidents. Next, downshifting occurs. Now, we had that in the video, and we talked about that a little, this process of downshifting. What happens when the brain is what? Is it happy? Is it relaxed? Is it stressed? Is it busy? Things like that. Who helped, these are some who questions and what questions. Who helped develop the hierarchy of needs theory? And we understand that who's the person, multiple ways of knowing, that should give you an answer. Who developed the behavioral mod theory? And you'll have a choice. I'll have, apples, bananas, Skinner, and, crackers. Who started the first subscription library in Philadelphia? And the city of Philadelphia should give you a clue who that might be. Who was the first well-known promoter of progressive education? Now, there's a father of progressive education, but he's not as famous as the big guy that we talked about. Who developed the 4 stages of cognitive development? That should be easy. Somebody created an intelligence test at Stanford University. What report revealed that schools were at risk and needed to improve? What was the name of a law for all handicapped children? That should help you with that. And what was it that neuroscientists studied? And then what was known as the monkey trial? Was it evolution versus creationism? Who was the gentleman? What was the gentleman's name? It was Tennessee versus somebody, and they called it the something trial. What lawsuit decision said separate but equal was equal? This was the first one that said you could be separate and it could be equal. It was okay. It's about the gentleman who rode in the train, and he was in the wrong, according to them, the wrong car. Next one, what was the common prairie school book other than the Bible? And we just talked about that, I think, in our last class. If not, you might want to look at this, and this would have been something we would have discussed in class today, instead of class today. And I'll go ahead and tell you the answer to this. It's talking about the McGuffey Reader, McGuffey. The McGuffey Reader is the old Dick and Jane books, if you've ever heard of those. See Dick Run, Run Dick Run. They were early textbooks, this other than the Bible, which was, as we did our westward expansion across the United States, the one book that was in most of these one-room schoolhouses was the Bible. The second most popular one was this McGuffey Reader. Sometimes they call it the McGuffey Primer. But that was the book that taught languages and alphabet and even mathematics in there in some aspects. So know about the McGuffey Reader. And then what lawsuit overturned the separate but equal decision? You should know that, and that would be fairly easy to remember. What was a major national law regulating how all children are taught? That would be no lobbyist left behind. Let's see, and here's a list of important people you might want to review names so that you can associate these names with things about them. Socrates, Gardner, there's are all the behaviorists and the theorists with the early concepts. There's Terman and Binet. They both had something in common. What was it? Scopes, McGuffey, we've talked about. The good old Pizza Pestalozzi and the neuroscientists. And this question will definitely be on the exam. And that's why I'll tell you in advance so you can just sort of memorize it. I'm going to ask you to list and briefly explain 5 points about brain-based learning that we discussed, other than the downshifting that we just talked about earlier. Other than that, in addition to the downshifting, can you come up with 5 points? And I want you to list them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll have the opportunity to type it directly into the midterm exam. The exam will be online in D2L under quizzes. You find it, and it will be available at our regular class time next week. So I apologize for not being able to be there with you. I hope this gets you a start. If you have a question or something comes up, email me. You know that's the easiest way to find me. And I will see you the next time I see you, which will probably be after spring break, I guess, because we're not going to have class next week. And if we're not having class today, then it'll be 3 weeks before I see you again. Good luck. I wish you the best. And if you have a question or something, email me. Thank you. Bye-bye.